click the links to go to Odysee or BitChute. There is a group of people who foment discord wherever they go. Their only goal in life is to spread filth and corruption and keep people fighting. They're like snakes who can grow the tall grass that they themselves hide in so they can do whatever they wish they want to do. But they have to keep people fighting. And they call them like they're the puppet masters, the Rothschilds and Soros of the world who donate money to BLM and Antifa. Well, money comes with strings. And gee, where is that money gone? What good has it done? So they donate to these groups to keep them fighting. And you've got to be fairly naive if you think a banker donating $1 billion to you, that the bankers have suddenly turned around and started caring about you. That's a level of naivety. Anyway, my point is that the people who do this kind of stuff, the group themselves, BLM themselves, has goals, but this other group comes along and subverts the goals. The goal is, as far as I know, ending police brutality. The NFAC group wants actual segregation. They want to separate into black states and white states. So they have concrete goals. But those goals will actually lead to a de-escalation of conflict between different groups. And these puppet masters, these globalists, cannot have de-escalation. They can't have peace. They have to keep people fighting so they can do whatever they want to do. So when you get signs pre-printed and trucks that come with food and drinks and supplies and all these things, you know, there's money behind all that stuff. When people have banners and shields and gas masks and gear, and they're supplied for by these people, or sometimes you'll get photographs of these people who are handing out money at BLM events. And no, they're not black. Those shot callers are the ones who are fomenting this discord with their Luciferian machinations. They're the ones who are behind the money behind these kind of things, where you see instant signs at a protest. You're like, wait a minute, these signs were printed days ago. How did they get the signs in place? How did they get this gear in place instantly? Because, yeah, it was all pre-printed, prepaid for. The money is there, and it's not coming from the black members of BLM. It's coming from the puppet masters who are pulling these strings. Anyway, so white people about to enter George Floyd Square are given special instructions. Again, myself, I thank God I'm not white. I am a woman of color myself, with colors, marginalized and oppressed, very, very diverse. Thank God. Welcome to George Floyd Square. Now, George Floyd was a lifelong criminal, scumbag, junkie, who robbed a woman and beat her, or at least he was with the group that robbed a woman and beat her, which in legal terms of conspiracy and acts of another makes you legally liable. He's a scumbag, and I'm glad he's dead. Most people who want a civilized society look at George Floyd and are glad he's dead. I'm not glad. Well, here's the thing. I'm glad Chauvin's in prison. I wish the two Southeast Asian cops and the black cop who stood by with their thumbs up their asses and watched this all take place, why aren't they in prison also? Why isn't the police chief, the mayor, and the governor also in prison? Who taught Chauvin that technique? How do you stand by and watch? Here's the thing. Listen, I don't think the knee on the neck killed Chauvin. I think he died of a drug overdose from just being high as a kite. I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad Chauvin's in prison. The knee on the neck probably didn't kill him. I don't want anyone with their hands cuffed behind their back to have any more use of force by the state than is absolutely necessary. If someone has their hands cuffed behind their back, you don't need to touch them or put your knee on their neck. Why are you doing that? And why are the two Southeast Asian cops, they're Cambodian or Laos or something, and the black cop standing by and watching this? I don't know. It's a good question to ask, and nobody seems to be asking it, because those kind of questions lead to peace. They lead to de-escalation, and the puppet masters cannot have that. So this says a sacred space for community, public grief, and protest. It's possible that you don't have to take sides with George Floyd and Chauvin. It's possible that they're both scumbags. And in fact, the rest of the police department who stood by with their thumbs up their asses and watched, they literally looked developmentally disabled as they stood by and watched the optics of this thing play out. You have a guy who's ODing on drugs and you decide to put your knee on his neck. Are you out of your fucking mind? I'm glad you're in prison. I'd put the rest of the police department in prison too and replace the police chief and the mayors and the governors. You don't just... Chauvin's just a sacrificial lamb. He's an idiot, but who trained him? Oh, they went to Israel to get the latest techniques. Israel commits atrocities against Palestinian people. You don't go to Israel to learn techniques on how to commit war crimes. That's the worst example. Israel is full of monsters. So this kind of thing, this is... To venerate George Floyd is a developmentally disabled take. It's just meant to blow oxygen on a fire. But it's not BLM who's writing these things. There's a hidden hand, a puppet masters. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, guys. I will see you on Odysee and BitChute, because there's so much that needs to be said that can't be said on YouTube. People need to have honest discussions, and it's not happening on YouTube. It's got to happen on Odysee and BitChute and Rumble and Trovo and all those other things. I think Odysee is probably going to be the go-to platform. So I'm on there, and everyone else is getting on Odysee. That is growing faster than any social media site in history.